He is president at AmericanCommitment.com. Phil Kerpen, we're talking state of the U.S. economy. Hi, Phil.
Hey, Fawn, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Yeah. I don't think robots need to be woke. What do you think?
I welcome our robot overlords, but it would be nice if they weren't so political. It's interesting. Right? I mean, the only AI I can talk to is Grok, because it's the only one that actually tries to give you the straight answer. Now, it gets things wrong. They all get things wrong, but when you go on like Google or ChatGPT, it's just left-wing politics.
Yep.
Like, what even is this? And then it's like, oh, no, I can't answer that question. Sorry, it's too political. This is what the Google one likes to say. And it's like, okay. I mean, I don't. So I actually think Elon has a huge advantage, and his at least tries to play it straight.
Yeah. I can't get Alexa to give me a straight answer about anything anymore. So she's good for recipes and what time is it and what the temperature is. That's about it. Maybe some brown noise when I'm sleeping. But the big, beautiful bill is now passed, and that means some really good things for the economy, but everybody wants a stinking magic wand, and they think because it hasn't taken effect overnight that he's destroyed the world.
Well, I mean, I think the biggest thing was lifting that threat of a huge tax hike coming at the end of the year, which was hanging over the U.S. economy. I have to say, I think that a lot of people have a huge sense of relief that this was done so early in the year. I mean, I think a lot of us anticipated that it was going to be like 2017. It was going to go down to the wire the last, week of December, and, they would probably get something done, but it was going to be touch and go. We wouldn't know until very late. And the president said, I want it by July 4th, and the speaker said he would do it by July 4th. And I shouldn't have doubted them, Fawn. They got it done.
They did.
And now we don't have that threat of a huge tax hike coming at the end of the year. Non-corporate businesses in particular don't have to worry about their tax rate going from 29.6 to 39.6, which is what would have happened. And we've brought back full expensing for capital investments for businesses, which is huge, and it phased down to 40%. So I think a lot of money was on the sidelines. And so I'm very optimistic that we're going to see a lot of capital invested, a lot of equipment and software purchased, a lot of new facilities built, which are now subject to accelerated depreciation as well. And, when there's more capital investment, that means more productivity growth, and people make more money because they can produce more. Wages go up. And so I'm pretty happy about the tax bill being cleared, and I think it has some excellent energy policy in it as well, undoing a lot of the insane green energy giveaways that the Democrats have put in, and I think we're going to reap a lot of benefits of more affordable energy as a consequence of that. And the president's done a huge amount on regulation as well, although not as much with the help of Congress, although they did do the one big thing banning, California's electric vehicle mandate. That actually did get through Congress, so that's great. Mm-hmm. And so we've got a lot of pieces in place right now for the economy to really grow. The one remaining sort of source of uncertainty is on the trade front, but even there, the president's announced some big deals recently, and it looks like a lot of those things are moving in the right direction. We may get a positive resolution there also. And so, look, I mean, the stock market keeps setting highs. It's funny. There was a headline in the Wall Street Journal the other day that said, the stock market keeps going up and nobody knows why. That's sort of a paraphrase, but it was basically that. And kind of like, guys, everyone knows why except you geniuses who are at these newspapers.
I want to be an economist where you can be wrong every single time and still get paid. Shocked. It was bigger than they expected. It's all you ever hear from economists. But, they have to guess at that with the numbers they have. But I wish people would understand that we don't actually need China for a whole lot of things. We really don't. So we just need to get the manufacturing back up and running in the United States, and that's going to take a minute. But once it's rolling, we are going to be rolling. China's economy is teetering on the edge right now anyway. So I don't know why people have such a big fear of this tariff tiff with China.
Well, we get a lot of cheap things from China, and they fill the shelves at the big box stores and that kind of thing. And, some of them are difficult to replace with U.S. production because they're very labor intensive. And we don't want to have tons of low-paid people. And, we want to what we want to do is, and to the point that you were making about robotics and artificial intelligence, what we want to do is figure out ways to make all these things without a lot of flavor, right? Figure out how to do them all through automation, and I think we're going to be able to replace a lot of these things just using technology. Have a small number of people running the robots and making a ton of money, instead of having lots of people making a small amount of money, which is kind of the China formula. And so, we can compete, I think, in all these things. We're not going to compete by doing it the way they do it, but we're going to compete doing it a different way, where we rely much more on technology and capital and much less on cheap labor.
Well, and quite frankly, the kids who are in school right now, I think they were born with a different brain than we were, Phil, because they catch on to technology faster than, there's some software comes out that's super simple for me, and there's some software that comes out I can't figure it out to save my life, and my 9-year-old grandson will go, here, let me show you, and I'm like, how do you even know?
No,
how do you know?
I know my kids have everything before I do. They know how to use everything. It is I think
how'd that happen?
There's when you're younger, there's a plasticity to the brain. It adapts very, very quickly to new things. And when you get a little older, you get a little bit,
stodgy.
The machinery up there is a little bit more stuck in what it's used to. And, it's just how it is.
Yeah. Well, my dad would not even learn how to even open a computer until there was a slot machine on it. That's when he got interested. So for me, with all the technology that we work with, some of it is way beyond my comprehension, and I'm at the age now where it's like I don't know that I can take any more on than I'm already doing, because I'm going to have to forget something before I can learn something new. I'm full. So when we look at the state of the U.S. economy right now, even if the newspapers can't figure out why the stock market is going up, we know why, and it's because we're putting America first. And when people invest, that's what they want. They want to invest in America, not China, not Canada, not Newfoundland. They want to invest in America. That's what they want to invest in.
Well, look, we just had the most insane hyper-regulatory presidency in history, and it was very hard to do any kind of business in America, and there was a massive sigh of relief from the whole business community when Trump won, even though a lot of them didn't support him, and, for whatever reason. But I think just on the economics, huge sigh of relief, and it's basically what we've seen is, you stop sort of the global warming war against, economic growth and production and the obsession, all the left's various obsessions, the DEI obsession, all this left-wing stuff that had nothing to do with production, with making stuff, with building stuff, with making money. You sort of sideline all that stuff very, very quickly, which is what the president's done. He had a whole stack of day one executive orders. Now we're seeing them all implemented. And the one big thing I think that was holding us back was what he couldn't do on his own, which was the tax fees. He had to do that through Congress, and I think we weren't sure if he was going to be able to, and he was.
Yeah.
He got it done. He got it done much more quickly than I think any of us expected. So,
and shockingly, with the help of a few Democrats, because they saw it and said, you know what, we can't go against this, or we're not going to get reelected. They knew.
Well, I don't think any Democrats voted for the big, beautiful bill.
Not in the Senate, no.
So, I think they've got a little bit of a political death wish, actually, because they just told every single taxpayer, I want to raise your taxes.
Yeah, well, we already knew that. They're the party of tax the crap out of people. They used to be for the working man. Now they're for let's make it more work for man to live.
It's interesting because, I think since, over the last couple of decades after they went into election with George H.W. Bush, Republicans have kind of become the party that'll never raise your taxes, which is pretty smart politically. But the Democrats have kind of become the party that will never cut your taxes, which seems to be politically, but what do I know?
Yeah, well, and energy prices, with all of the pipelines that have now been given the thumbs up from Canada through to the Texas borders to everywhere. All of the oil that has been now just through executive order, sadly, not Congress, been allowed to start. If I were them, I'd be a little worried about it because if a Democrat gets in there next on day one, they can shut it down like Keystone. So I'm worried about that.
Yeah, I'm also very worried that deregulation could be reversed again. Remember, Trump was a very good deregulatory president in his first term, but Biden came in and brought back every Obama regulation and then some. Mm-hmm. And so I think that, I think that one of the things we really need to figure out how to accomplish in this term is passing the REINS Act so that the next Democratic president can't just put all the rules and regulations and restrictions back in, that we actually have a process where they have to send them up to Congress for a vote. Because even when Pelosi and Reid and Obama were in charge and they had huge majorities, remember, they couldn't get that cap-and-trade bill through. That's why they resorted to having the EPA try to write it into existing laws. And so I think if we could get the process fixed so that these regulations have to go through Congress, it would make the deregulation essentially permanent. And Senator Mike Lee tried very hard to get that in the big, beautiful bill. The parliamentarian rejected version after version after version. I don't know why she's the queen of the universe, but we can find a way, I think, to get that done before the end of this presidency, because otherwise, you're right, the next time there's a Democrat, they'll bring it all back and then some, the same way Biden did with all the Obama regulations.
I feel like a yo-yo, I do. And I do wish they'd do more through Congress to make it permanent. But even that being said, then lower court judges get in the way. And it's just like, I don't know who they think they are, but they need to stay in their lane. They're not the president. They're not Congress. I don't know why they feel that way. But I've got 2 minutes left, and I want to ask you, because I got an email the other day that said NATO, the highest court in the world, has said we must take on climate change now. No one has a choice. I hate to break it to you, but yes, we do. And they said the only people that Trump can't fire are jurists. And I'm going, what are y'all talking about? What do they mean by that? We're going to have to pay more towards climate change, trying to stop climate change? Or what are they talking about?
Well, this is the same, the global left has not given up at all, and I think it's interesting because we've moved so far in this issue. I mean, 10 or 15 years ago, Republicans would say, well, yeah, global warming is killing us all, but I'm not sure we should do this unless China agrees, and, but yeah, we should do something. Now, led by Trump, they say this is all a hoax, this is nonsense, this is going to impoverish us for no benefit, we're not doing it. Mm-hmm. And so, we've largely moved on from it, at least on the Republican side in the United States, but these international institutions are completely obsessed with it, as obsessed as ever, despite the fact that Europe's run into a wall on energy with massive destructive economic consequences, huge blackouts and other things. So, you got these UN institutions issuing these ridiculous rulings. And by the way, this is from, I believe, the International Court of Justice, which the U.S. never even joined, not even when Democrats were in charge. So we're not a party to it, but the left is saying, oh, my God, the judges ruled, we need to, pay reparations to the rest of the world for all the climate damage we've done and all this kind of stuff. And so as much as we feel like we've won on this climate debate, we've kind of won on one side of the political aisle in one country, but the global threat of these crazy climate derangement is still there.
Yeah, but we've already paid our fair share. So if they feel so strongly about this, then India and China and Russia better pony up because they're the ones doing the damage now.
Well, if you think that carbon dioxide emissions are damaging, which I don't.
I don't either.
Then, yes, I would be much more concerned about India and China building a coal plant every week than I would be about the United States, which has shifted to natural gas and cut our CO2 emissions dramatically.
Yeah, and the trees would thank you.
As I said, I'm not worried about CO2 emissions, but if I were, the problem is not the United States.
No, not even close. But they're going to try to put it on us, and we'll see what happens. But, yeah, carbon dioxide is what everything that's green eats. So it's never going to be a bad thing. Phil Kerpen, AmericanCommitment.com. Go there. He's got lots of ideas, thoughts, and stories there and topics that will be of interest and import to you. So make sure you check them out. Phil, thanks for being on the show today.
All right. Have a good one, Fawn.
Appreciate you. Bye-bye.